Today's videos come from Dark, Dr. Disaster, and the Yellow Flash. Their channels will be linked in the description so you can go check them out and support them. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
What's up, Space Pirates? This is your captain, the certifiably suave Dr. Disaster. And Bioware is at it again, this time going out of their way to silence critics who have anything negative to say about Dragon Age the Veilguard. The thing is, these people realize that if they allow critics to tell the truth about their game before it releases, it will scare off a good chunk of people who have pre-ordered the game. If they aren't careful, if they don't curate a list of trusted reviewers who can be relied upon to speak about the game in positive tones ahead of time, they will lose a shitload of sales, because telling the truth will clearly result in people having the following reaction to this game.
Oh, hell no, I'm out of here.
Now, let me just make this very clear. The mainstream gaming industry is dying. It is crashing and burning right before us. Just like we have the mainstream media that lies to us, the mainstream gaming media is also lying to us. And of course, companies that are being financed by BlackRock are buying out everything from Digital Foundry to IGN, and then turning these things into media empires that cultivate interest, but then lie to our faces and use them as propaganda machines to sell diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's absolutely disgusting. But we have options because of the internet, because of alternative reviewers, because of people who play games and can put out very beautiful videos. They don't even have to be incredibly beautiful, but they are just unbiased. They will tell you what the game is actually like. They will tell you if the game is good, if it sucks. They will tell you the ins and outs of it. And they will compete directly with the mainstream media. IGN is now a cesspool. I cannot believe anything that IGN says, because they will rate things like The Rings of Power a 9 out of 10, or I think they gave it like a 10 out of 10. Oh, it's one of the best series to ever exist. That steaming pile of crap. So you cannot trust IGN to rate anything anymore. This leaves a ton of opportunity for smaller channels, for alternative media sources to step up and to give you a rating for these things. And trust me, many of them will do just that, especially when they start coming together. There are like tons of channels right now that cover all kinds of content, covers all kinds of media, and all they have to do is stop being greedy and just share. So for example, you have the Spawn Wave Network. They play a ton of games between them. And it does not take a lot for them to just start putting out their reviews. OJ plays all of these damn games. John plays all of these damn games. Sean, RGT, plays all of these damn games. Their Gen Zer plays a lot of these games as well. I will not say their name. The point that I'm trying to make is that it does not take a lot for them to put together their own reviews based on specific metrics and then publish these reviews. They do not have to be pretty. They do not have to be beautiful. They just have to be accurate. And they can compete directly with the likes of IGN. They can tell us what, don't watch Lara Croft. Lara Croft's New Adventure on Netflix. It's absolute woke garbage. So I completely foresee this happening. Maybe not from Spawn Wave, all right, because John seems like he's happy with what they're doing right now, which I think they can be doing much more. But definitely, and I will say it again, definitely, they do have this thing called Game and Talk, but that's smaller. But definitely others will step it up. We have things like Game Explain, and they can keep on trying to buy out these channels and buy out these brands, but more will just rise up. So now they're censoring people who talk about these things. They're issuing copyright strikes on channels that review. Yes, on channels that review Dragon Age, to stop them from from putting the word out there and letting people know that the game absolutely sucks, because it's going to tank the sales. They think people are stupid, and they're trying as much as they can to get as many sales as quickly as they can in the first 24 hours, the first week, before enough information gets out there that the game is absolute trash. This is, guys, these companies are going to be heading to court soon if enough people get pissed off and start filing lawsuits that their First Amendment rights are being violated, that their constitutional rights are being violated, that these companies are using bogus copyright claims to push forward censorship. And I will call out Nintendo because they're the kings of this and they made it possible. But eventually people get pissed off and they stand up and start fighting back. And these companies are about to find out. Bioware, a once respectable company, will start to lose, their value if it already has. It will start to plunge rapidly, just like Ubisoft. And by the time, people are suing them or these lawsuits even get to court, these companies may have already filed for bankruptcy. When you see what's going on with Ubisoft, Ubisoft may not be around like more than a year. Like a year from now, Ubisoft may no longer exist. And I'm not joking. I am so serious because there's already word on the street that they're going to be bought out. The company is not doing well. Everyone is lying about this. It's down to less than 1.5 billion. That's from being like a $13 billion company. They've lost 85% of their value over the course of the last 5 years. And it's like they're canceling early access to their games. They're canceling bonuses. They're canceling everything. They've disbanded the Prince of Persia team that delivered one of the best Prince of Persias evidently in quite some time because it did not perform well. Star Wars They've basically killed the series and damaged the franchise. These companies have lost trust with their players. IGN is putting out this woke garbage. Like, I'm just going to unsubscribe from IGN because if I cannot trust them for reviews, if their reviews are going to be extremely biased, I will not trust them. I will not download their garbage. I will not subscribe to their nonsense. That's really what's up. And they're basically pissing off their consumers. They're pissing off the people who buy their games. Like, guys, I'm buying the vast majority of my games off GOG right now. If it's not on GOG, I don't plan on buying it because I treat every single game that I purchase on Steam now as nothing more than a long-term rental. So unless it's like available for peanuts, I don't plan on picking it up. Unless it's available for peanuts. It's something I really want, and it's available for peanuts on Steam, I'm not picking it up. I will always look for the alternative on GOG first, and I'll buy my game on GOG. And I just started buying games from GOG over the last 2 weeks. I already have over 140 titles. Okay? Like that's the real truth right there. I have over 140 titles there. And, as we're heading towards the holiday season, I've been looking at physical games, and purchasing my physical games, buying maybe some lots from eBay if I can get some great games there, but also just cheaper, like looking for deals for like things like Mario Kart 8. I already have all of these games physical, but I'm hunkering down. I cleared off all of my personal debt, like in terms of credit card debt, all of that's cleared off. All of that's cleared off, and I'm basically streamlining everything in my life right now, so that so that I can hopefully have like no debt in any way whatsoever, no debt, and good health, and basically an entertainment. So gaming PC. I'm working on all of that stuff right now, everything that I want. And just hunkering down. I have my other businesses that I'm working on so that I have continuous income regardless if I'm on this platform or not. And no matter, regardless of whatever happens around us, I have an income coming in that cannot be just taken away from me. And that's what men do. We see the writing on the wall. No matter who wins, we're screwed. That's something like a lot of you have to realize, and a lot of you are like little kids. You're like, oh, I don't care. I'm just going to sit around and do nothing. I'm just going to sit around and just wait for everything to go to hell. I don't care. And then when things start to go to hell, you start to go ballistic. You start to go crazy, which is a level of stupidity I've never seen before. Guys, in today's challenging world, knowing how to thrive without spending a dime can make all the difference. We're heading for some seriously bad times. No matter who wins, we lose. That's why I created the Buy Nothing and Thrive course. This 12-lesson crash course teaches you how to secure cash, money, food, housing, healthcare, and more, all without spending a dime for any of it. Imagine having a trusted advisor showing you how to leverage available resources to stabilize your finances and grow your wealth. Join me and learn step by step strategies to maximize what's available to you and enhance your financial stability. Click the link in the description to sign up now, guys. I've been homeless before. I was homeless over 10 years ago. It was a horrible event. Many of you guys know the suffering that I went through because, like, when I started my YouTube channel, it had been just like a short time after that terrible turmoil had occurred. And it was just nasty. Being homeless is horrific. It's absolutely horrific. And a lot of it occurred because of the basis and the foundation I got at home from my mother and the life I lived. Guys, Gen X had it hard. And there's some Gen Xers that had decent boomer parents, but the vast majority of us did not. Like, I'll tell you about my boomer parents. Guys, I'll tell you about my boomer mother. My boomer mother, what I would say to her is, like, when she would just start pissing me off later on in life, I would just start saying to her, everything you have done to me, everything that you do to me, I pray that God gives it all back to you. If you have done kindness, may you receive that kindness back. If you have done evil upon me, may you receive the same evil back. She would then start to, rebuke it and say that it will never happen. And then she will rush every time I would do it. Almost every time she would, and say this to her, because she would piss me off of the things that she has had done to me and would continue to do to me. She would then run and get on her knees and begin praying. But that doesn't make any sense, does it? Because if you've done good unto someone, then you would feel comfortable in your heart. The boomers consciously know, even if they will not admit it, that they are bad people, the vast majority of them, and they have done evil and vindictive things unto their children that amounts to extraordinary amounts of abuse. And they are petrified at the idea of retaliation.
The embargo on reviews for Dragon Age the Veilguard is being lifted today, and naturally, the reviewers are very careful to make sure that they don't say anything to hurt BioWare's little fifis, because otherwise they will lose their early access moving forward.
I'd be very, very careful who you talk to about that.
You can see why these reviewers are so careful about their words, because not only has BioWare gone out of their way to make sure that anyone even kinda sorta negative about the game loses early access, like they did with Wolfheart the other day, but they put out a copyright strike on this account here because she got a code for simply claiming she was non-binary, and then she absolutely left a scathing review of this game.
So this girl, that's why I told you, don't mess with gamer girls. True gamer girls, they roll hard, they roll deep. They want games with sexy girls in there and handsome men. And if you start doing these types of things, this is what ends up happening. So she just identified as non-binary. She got an early access review code, and she put out a scathing review on the game. So she made them think that she was an ally, and then she dropped a real review. And now they basically have gone after her and issued a copyright strike against her. So anyone who leaves a negative comment on a BioWare video, regarding their game, if you got an early access code, then they will issue a copyright strike. This will not hold up in court. And the fact is that they are now going to cost her time and money. Even if she is able to get the strike removed, that is a very serious issue. That's a legal matter. Guys, I have an attorney for my channel. I have an attorney that I have to deal with. I've had to deal with multiple attorneys, but I do have an attorney for the channel. All of us have attorneys. The vast majority of us on YouTube have attorneys. If you don't have an attorney that you work with on a regular basis that you can go to handle these things, then yeah, we're always receiving takedown requests. We're always receiving all of this crap. And we have to have good attorneys that can basically write the legal jargon in such a way that it will, have YouTube, reverse course and so forth. This is a very serious issue, what these companies are doing. And they do this because they know the average person is not going to file a lawsuit against them. But if people start to file lawsuits against these companies, and that's what needs to begin happening, class action lawsuits at that, it's hell on earth. Nintendo, for example, has been crossing the line, and they've 100% done things. They're always usually confident they can win their lawsuits before they file them. But the reason why are more so that they'll be able to, the person who's they're going up against won't be able to fight them in court because they don't have that kind of money. But when you start having people banding together and filing class action lawsuits, and they're like, we're not giving up, we'll represent ourselves even if we have to. Like, believe there's someone right now, like in the emulation space, that Nintendo filed like a lawsuit against, and he's basically going to fight them in court, and he's going to represent himself in court, and he could lose, but then he could also win. And the reason why is I truly believe I think the courts tend to give you a bit more leniency if you're representing yourself, because they are well aware that you do not know the law in the same capacity as the average person, as an attorney would. So they have to give you some consideration. And you have to also understand copyright law. Now, if this goes before a jury or a grand jury, and they look at this and they're going to say, they have to interpret the law, and basically, no matter how the lawyers try to put it out there and misconstrue it, if they look at the copyright laws and and the person's like, listen, they're just taking advantage of the law, and they can work with legal aid services, and legal aid services basically have to help present the argument, and they have to deliver that argument to the jury. And if it gets to the jury, you don't be surprised if Nintendo tries to settle, if companies like Bioware try to settle, because that's when they will be absolutely petrified. Right now, there is a huge lawsuit that is proceeding between I forget the name of this actress, but she's actually being funded by Elon Musk. He's paying for her lawsuit, and Elon has said he'll pay for like any of these other lawsuits as well. And it wouldn't shock me if Elon starts bankrolling like gamer lawsuits against companies like BioWare and Nintendo that do this type of censorship. And if that happens, these companies are screwed. Like, if this lawsuit with Disney, it opens the door. If she wins, it opens the door to many other lawsuits for the company, and they have no recourse. And what they're doing right here with Dragon Age, for example, what they've done to this young lady, where it can be shown that there is extremely clear bias and censorship, it will result. Like I said, if the company is still around a year or two from now, then she can get massive damages. And these companies cannot handle things like, $100 million losses. It's funny, but now we live in the age of mega lawsuits, where you look at people like Alex Jones, and basically they got like a $1 billion judgment against him for something like defamation. You look at people like Trump and so forth, and you might think, well, that's different. The fact of the matter is that because they've been able to leverage the court systems to get these massive lump sum amounts, this now means that the court systems could also be used to get these massive lump sum amounts just from these companies. So Nintendo, that has a history of censorship, people could sue for hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars, and they could get settlements for billions of dollars against these companies. And even after one class action lawsuit is settled, other class action lawsuits could basically occur. I don't know. I really, really don't know. It's a crazy reality, guys. Absolutely crazy reality. And they have done this to themselves. They have 100% done this to themselves. They have 100% put themselves in this situation, and they've gone to war with the consumer. The very same consumer that pays their bills, the very same consumer that is keeping their companies afloat. They have turned them into enemies. That's a very stupid thing to do. Like, guys, I'm going to unsubscribe from IGN. I'm 100% unsubscribing from IGN, because I cannot trust their reviews anymore. Like, even the review for Sonic was like, they're complete shills. Like, I'm looking at Dreamcast guy right now, and he says Dragon Age Velguard review scores are what, 9 out of 10, 84% top critic average. This game is a total piece of woke garbage. And this just, and guys, when you look at the video game awards, it's all going to be like, for example, where's Black Myth Wukong? Where's Stellar Blade? Where are these titles that people actually bought and enjoyed? Nowhere to be found. But Concord will be like nominated for Game of the Year. And they think that people are so stupid because, you know, you just obey. Guys, this is like, I will, like, basically Jeff Keighley, you know, he's just one of them. He's a shill, and people, and like all the goodwill that he's gained in the industry with players, like consumers, if the consumers don't believe in you anymore, they will reject your product. Guys, I'm so happy. I had like, you know, I built up over the course of a year, I built up a library of Steam games of like over 200 Steam games. And after what Steam has done, you don't own anything. These are just long-term rentals. Cool, bro. Because now I turned to GOG, and GOG is just, I just love GOG. I'm picking up these are like not even like crazy old titles. It's just like Steam, where like these titles came out over the last couple of years. Sometimes they came out 10 years ago. Sometimes they came out over the last couple of years. It's the same as Steam. Same as Steam. And there are more and more new titles coming out on it as well. And I'll purchase my games on GOG, and I'll download my games on GOG. And guess what? The games that you purchase, you can download the offline installer. A lot of the times they do not have online features, which is a plus. And I can enjoy my games. I can back them up. I can keep them forever, as long as I store the files. I'm basically preparing for the apocalypse. That's what Gen X is. We're the apocalyptic generation. We see hell coming, and we're just waiting for it. We're ready for it.
Afterward, they copyright struck her account because they have to do everything in their power to contain the narrative. But it won't work. Their secret is getting out whether they like it or not.
You can't stop me no matter who you are.
But let's talk about this Dragon Age and Bioware bullshit that we've got going on here. These people are disgusting as hell with how they pick and choose the people who can and cannot talk about their game ahead of time. It's almost comical just how fearful they are of people who don't agree with their worldview having access to and talking about their game. And you gotta think, if they have nothing to hide, then why would they be so concerned about this? Well, the obvious answer is they have plenty to hide. So the big story here is that this person, who goes by Natalia on Twitter, this person got a review code from Bioware just for saying she was non-binary. The Google translation from Spanish of her tweet here says, "Guess who got a review code from Dragon Age the Veilguard? Bioware just sold their souls to the devil, just had to say I was a non-binary woman and they gave it to me. Get ready for the mega review soon or tomorrow." A little while later, this is what she posted on Twitter. Once again, translated by Google, it says, "After playing for 3.5 hours, Dragon Age the Veilguard has terrible graphics, boring and monotonous combat. They want to copy God of War, but in a bad way." And this isn't the first time we've heard that. The other day, Neon Knight said that about this game, and then the game does not run at a constant 30 frames per second. It drops, and the screen freezes when there are many NPCs. Many of the dialogues are noticeably made with AI. The game is very linear, the options lead nowhere, false free will. The creator of characters focused on the trans and LGBT community, which we could all see from a mile away, but it's nice to hear confirmation of this. The game used inclusive language in Spanish subtitles. The characters move very robotically, they lack animations. The script doesn't make sense, neither do the quests, going from one place to another killing bugs. Too much focus on homosexuality, lesbians, and drags. Race swaps are everywhere. She writes then that the game is an effing piece of garbage as an RPG. Stay away from this game. Don't even buy it on sale. It's a pile of putrefaction created by people who have no effing idea about video games. Uninstalled already. And then here is her tweet saying that her Twitter account was locked because she got a copyright strike.
So y'all, this is insane stuff. Her review consisted of just a tweet where she explains what she played. It doesn't even appear that she put any gameplay footage out, more or less, but they went after her Twitter account just for telling people what the game actually was about. This is complete censorship on freedom of speech. So if they don't like what you're saying, they're going to censor your speech just for talking about their game. And they're abusing the copyright system so that for their purpose. Now, this is X. This is X, and interestingly enough, Elon does pay attention to these things. So I'm hopeful and more optimistic that this will be sorted out sooner than later. And something will be put into place to deal with this. For example, people that abuse the copyright system need to be punished. And YouTube constantly says, "Oh, if you make a false copyright claim, you could lose your account." Well, or you can be punished. Guys, Nintendo does this all the time. And there are no consequences for Nintendo doing this. Companies that abuse the copyright system on YouTube, they get away with all the time. If you're on these platforms and you're abusing the copyright system over and over and over again, and it is clear that this is fair use, let me make this clear. There need to be consequences. There needs to be a system where not only am I able to counterfile and make a counterclaim that this person this is fair use, but I also need to be able to file a complaint that it was a direct intentional purpose of censorship, of censoring my video where I made criticisms. And that is a violation of my constitutional rights. And these companies, many don't care, but that can hold up because, again, this is between people. This is not simply between YouTube and social media platforms and you. No, this is between two different legal entities, me and another party, be it a person or a business. And at that point, if they're attempting to use this platform to censor me and censor and intimidate me, which is something Nintendo is famous for doing, then I need to be able. Then there has to be punishments for this. How do you handle this? Oh, we basically tell them if they do it, they can get into trouble. But there's how many companies that do this? How many people that do this, that issue these false claims, actually face consequences? The DMCA. That's the thing that they have online that helps people to remove digital content that violates their rights, is being weaponized to censor. So I mean, guys, I'm telling you, like, these companies are not going to win. And so many people right now, so many gamers are celebrating the crash of the gaming industry. 100%. They're like, "Oh, it's gonna crash," and they are celebrating the crash of the gaming industry because they want it to happen. Go woke, go broke. Go woke, go broke. And we could see it coming a mile away. Guys, what do you think? Do you agree that the gaming industry is heading for a massive crash? Let me know what you guys think, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Do you agree this is disgusting? Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWM and walking away. And cheers.